In this video I'm going to explain you how to create this kind of filter list, searchable filter list with the no code flow filter. What you need is your Webflow project in which you want to paste the filter and the no code flow project in the other tab. So one tab with your project and the other with the no code flow project. In the no code flow project you go to the head code and paste this custom code that is in the project into your project, save the changes, and then you're good to go with the first step. After this, we're taking care about the CMS. So copy the whole div no code flow filter list, and then you'll have the whole CMS list, but also this outer container, which is essential in your own project. From there, you go to the CMS collection. If you didn't create already a CMS for your filterable list, which contains all the items that will be shown. Just create whatever you want. You can customize that 100%. There's no limit, except for the Webflow limit of 100 items. What you do then is you connect the list, so your content management system, your collection list, to the item, to your actual list in the CMS canvas. So then you're good to go. Then the first step is done. So now we're taking care of the actual filter item that contains everything you want to search for. Therefore, we take NCF filter content item from the NCF filter Webflow project into your project and paste that directly within the NCF filter item element, so within the collection list. So to set up the item, we go to the HTML element and open it, and from here you will see that you have this ID, which has to be connected with the ID of the CMS element. Therefore, we go into the slug and add the slug as field. Also, we need to add a field in the data name. So we override the all caps name behind the data and also the in all caps name. From that point, you can start to style your actual item. So now we will style the actual filter item that you will, or that later will be searched in a list. For example, you can put in a heading. Of course, you need to connect it properly to the CMS. And yeah, from here on you can go really crazy. I mean, whatever kind of elements you want to place into your item, tags and everything, you can create it in the CMS first and you can style it however you want. Yeah, and from here on you can really start to customize your item however you want it. In our example, we did a few more tags and items, and then you're basically done with your main content item, so with your main filter item. Next up we have the pagination. So there you just take the div element that's named NCF pagination and paste it into the NCF filter list. Now you would be good to go to style it already, but in case you want to change the shown items per page, we have to go to the NCF filter list div, and in there you find the custom div attribute data items per page where you can change the value. So in there you can switch out the value with a number you like, and from there it's okay. We have to publish the page to show to you that it works, but from there basically you can just switch out the number and customize it however you want it, and you see it works. And then you can customize it in any way that you want. And that's about it with the pagination. So now we start with implementing the actual search, so the actual, not pagination, not the items, but the actual search and filtering of the items. Therefore, you go into the NCF filter project and paste this form block, which you can see right in here on the left side in your Webflow structure, which contains everything you can filter for. We built in, by the way, this filter content item pagination classes, which are, or these dividers, which are called NCF description always. You can delete all of them. Everything that has not a lowercase class with NCF ... can be deleted anyways. So what you do, you copy paste the whole form and paste it into your own project. Also here make sure it's within the NCF filter list. And from there we usually take it up in our HTML structure of Webflow, so it's above the other items. Up next we're going to make the search work. So to do that we go to our HTML embed. We take the name attribute that we gave in here, which is the one we want to search for because we want to search for the item name. Therefore, we need to copy paste the name in the data name, go to the search field, and there we go once again into the div settings, so into the text field settings here. Go to the pre-customized attributes and replace the value within the data filter with name. And from then on, this search field will start to search for the actual names that are within the list that we have created before. And then that's it. The search field works, and now you can start to customize it. You can replace the label, you can delete the label, everything you want, as long as you don't delete divs with the NCF filter classes. Up next, we're going for the sort. With the sort item, usually what you do is you sort the list that we have in a specific order. So to order the items, we want to give numbers in this case. So we go to the custom fields, add a field, add a number field, and name that priority, because in this case we want to give priorities to our items. Therefore, we of course need the minimum number and the maximum number, which we can later give to our other CMS items. So we save the collection. Now we need to add a few example items to make sure that it really works. So create a few example items and save. And then we go to our canvas. There we once again need to go to our HTML embed. In that embed, we'll now create a new entry because the sort is optional. So you can leave it out if you want to. We call it data priority, which is the name we gave in the CMS. It has to be the exact name we gave it in the CMS. And then we put in the slug, which you do like this, and take the add field button again, click on priority because that's the field we chose to create. This name that we placed in the HTML element, in the HTML embed, we now going to take over. So priority, we mark it, we copy it to not make mistakes. Go to our order sort field, to the NCF filter order, and paste it in there. There we create a new choice with the value priority and the name, so the text priority. So this is like what will be shown later when you click. So when the user of your website clicks on the sort list. In this case, we can also name it priority order. Then we go also to the first choice, which is name in this case. So we can sort it for the name, which is by default like this activated. Then we go on publish, and from there you can see that the sort field works. So now we can go in here, by default sorted by the name because it's the first, but we can also order it for priority now. Now we gave it like random values, but you can play around in whatever way you want with that option. So you can create like different types of sorting and create that in the CMS. So now we're going for the actual filter. So now we're going for the actual filtering of the products with different categories. So here you can decide if you use a category chip or a category checkbox. So therefore we called it filter option 1 and filter option 2. So go to the CMS, create a new field, and we call that one option. And the label here, we always call that category because basically that's what we want to create, a category in this case. So we save the field and we add an option. So in this case we just, let's name it C1. And then we also, of course, we need a C2, we need a C3, but in this case you can name it whatever you want. So this is now your category where you can put on everything. So you could put everything in there. Now what we want to do is to connect that once again with our HTML embed, which links everything together. So we go in there, open it, and add a new field. This one we're calling data category because we named it category. We can also here, we can play around with everything, so with every name that we have. So yeah, here we also put in, like as with the priority, the category in the slug, and then here we also have to copy the name category, put that into our checkbox with which we now want to start. So we duplicate checkboxes because we took 3 placeholder categories. We take the category tag, so the category name. We go to the checkbox, and there's data filter category already preset. So in this case, we just override the name category with the name category we took. And here we can put in the lower value the category name. So it's always like in the data filter, we go for category, that's the CMS item name. And here we go for the name that we chose in the different categories. So we have C1, C2, C3, but in other cases this could be, I don't know, whatever you want to categorize. And then we basically do the same thing with the chips. So the chips work exactly alike. The only thing is that it's like a different UI approach, because the checkbox you can turn that on and off, and the chip is more like, like clicked, turn on, turn off, but not with the checkbox. So, but like a more common, more modern UI approach to it. So we felt like we need to include both. Here you do the same thing. You go in, and it's like exactly the same thing as with the checkbox, with one difference, of course, which we will show you right now. Because what we have is also a selected chip, which is a state. So here basically you have the NCF selected class behind the NCF filter category chip class. So this is just to show what happens if a user clicks on the chip and the chip is selected, so that the user knows it's selected. Within this div, you can once again put everything. You can put in icons, everything. Always, the only thing that matters is that the classes are kept. No, so always when you want to style that chip, so we put it in like as a preset in here. But if you want to change it again, you just have to add behind the class of the NCF filter category chip, so the other class of this, you just have to add the NCF filter selected, and then that's it. So now we created our actual filter. Let's see how it works. So we now click on the categories checkbox, and you see it's synchronized and it works, and we filter for the different categories that are set within our canvas. So now that we're done with that, we can go to the next thing, which is the filter reset button. Here we have the same thing with the chips. So we go in, add NCF filter no, and put it on opacity 0 or something like that, however you want it to look when there is no filter active. So then we remove this class, and then we styled already the version that is there when the button is clicked, so when the filter is active. So we can see here it's quite easy. When you click a filter, the reset button appears, and you can like remove it again while clicking it, and remove with that all the filters. What a filter also needs is the empty state. So here we just go in the NCF filter list and select this empty state, which is in the lower part of it, and there we can put in whatever we want. For example, here we put in a headline and say maybe empty. The filter is empty, so there's like no items can be found with this kind of filter settings. So when you, for example, when you have a very weird combination of multiple filters or something like this. So we just place it in the middle. Also here you can style it however you want it. And yeah, what we also do is like we put in this reset button, which is NCF filter reset, and yeah, then we have also an empty state. The thing is like, for example, now we can trigger it with a search. So when we search something really weird, of course it's empty, and button reset, and that's it. But always keep in mind the whole concept of this works with the classes. So as long as you make sure that every class, as in our example file, or like in this video, which you both get access to, of course, like which you both have access to, if you just take over the classes to put it into your like already pre-built filter, you can still use the tool. You just have to make sure that the classes of the actual div items are working.